Hi, this is Hugh. Today I want to take a look at this Umarex Javelin AirBow. I just got this delivered a few days ago. I haven't fired it yet. The backstop hasn't shown up yet. So I've just been kind of studying it and set it up with this is an old BSA dot sight RD30. It has only one color, red, 11 different brightness settings on it. But it works real good. I've had it a long time. So I put it on, I ordered this 1-inch riser to get this up higher. Anyhow, getting down to this thing here, we'll go over some of the things here. First of all, it comes with open sight, or hard sights I should say. You got a fiber optic sight in the front, adjustable PEEP sight in the back, and you have this Picatinny rail that runs all the way across the top. And you can see I mounted this Picatinny rail riser on here, so that should work out nicely. This is a very cheap old dot sight, but it's always worked really great right from the get-go. So, and I figure with a close range weapon or arrow bow, whatever, that should work out fine. So we'll talk about a few things here. Here is the cocking bolt right here. And I've got it screwed in on the right, but you can also screw it on the left if you choose. So I'm going to try it out on the right. If I don't like it, I can always switch it back over. The safety is right here. Hopefully you can see that. And it is solid and big. And there you go. See, that's a serious business. And that's important on this because, you know, you're going to be loading an arrow onto this tube and sliding it down, and then it clicks into place. And you know, I really like the idea of it having a safety on it. And the other thing too, I've learned watching videos and reading that you don't want to cock this thing until after you're loaded and ready to shoot. Then you take off your safety and then shoot. So, and this button right here, if you can see that, oh, I'm sorry, this button here, this is the release for the slide. And this opens up so you can put your 88 gram CO2 cartridge here that screws in, of course. So that'll be the power source. And I obviously, since I'm not going to be firing it right away, I don't want to put a cartridge in there because CO2 doesn't store well when it's already loaded into a air gun or whatever. So we're holding off on that. So I can't really tell you much about the trigger pull because we haven't really fired it yet. And oh, that's another thing while I'm thinking about that. I heard somewhere that these give out a really big blast of pressure, and the way this barrel is in here, for lack of a better term, the arrow actually slides over this, that you don't want to dry fire these, because I guess what it'll do is the pressure's so great, and this barrel has to be free floating all the way back so the arrow can slide down. So you don't want to dry fire, because I guess this can slap around in there and kind of throw your barrel off, or I don't know how much damage, but from what I understand, you just don't want to be doing that. So, okay, and back here you've got the adjustable stock, you know, like an AR type stock, not mil spec. You'll see there's no O-ring here or anything like that. You know, this is just, you know, it is what it is, but it is adjustable. And what I do like is this butt piece here. This pad is actually rubberized. This is very comfortable. I was really impressed with that. And one of the things that worked out really good is putting this, I'll turn it this way, putting this BSA dot sight on here with this riser, is when I bring this up, I don't know if you can see this or not, but it is like perfect. I'm not scrunching or, you know, or it just really nice back here. And either way, you know, I can shoot short or long, whichever suits me. If I'm in a blind type for space, I might want to keep it in a shorter setup like that. So I can't really review the dot sights or the hard sights, I'm sorry, because my eyesight is so bad. I don't really use them, haven't for years. So I've got a few things written down as far as the specs go. You know, it's CO2 powered, and it's going to take an 88 gram cartridge like this one here. And you're going to want to put a little silicone on there, or propel gun oil before you screw this in to protect the O-rings or seals, whatever. And these are a little pricey, so you don't want to put one of these in until you're ready to do some shooting. And you're going to get about, from what I understand, 27 to 30 shots per cartridge, and that's in warm weather, of course. That is the one of the drawbacks of CO2 is they don't work well in cool or cold weather. So, and the other drawback is they don't store well. So, but it's 27 to 30 shots isn't that bad though. It's not like screwing one of these into an air rifle and you've got to fire 300 shots, or you might not have time for all that shooting, or you just might not feel like shooting that much. So I think it's a much better setup in this little airbow than it would be in a rifle, unless you really want to shoot that much, which I very seldom ever want to take that many shots. But I made some notes here. Okay, they list the foot-pounds of energy at 34. Now that's based on 300 feet per second. But I've seen a couple of these fire on YouTube, and I believe the first shot was 330, 334, something like that, feet per second, and the second shot was 320. So in your first few shots, you're probably going to do a little better than 34 foot-pounds of energy. So that's a good thing anyway. And it says it has quick valve release technology, which I guess means it gives one big blast very quickly, which with an arrow would make sense. So, and if you're wondering how the arrow works, these arrows are actually, I don't know how well you can see that, but they're hollow. And when you load this in there, what you want to do is that actually, I'm trying to keep this in front of the thing here. There's the, and it just slides down in there. Now, when you get it down to this point, you can push down and click into place. I don't want to do that now because I don't have any CO2 in it, and I don't have a backstop yet, and I don't want to fire it. So, but that's how this works. And these are super light. This is carbon fiber. That's about a 50 grain tip, and I think about 120 on the shaft grains. Very light, very fast. And I have those numbers jotted down here too, because I decided to weigh them myself to see how that came out. Okay. Here's my numbers on the arrow, and I call it an arrow because it's on a crossbow it would be a bolt, but this isn't a crossbow. Obviously, it's an airbow. And the arrow's a lot lighter than what I've only owned one crossbow in my life, and I remember the bolts being shorter and more solid and a little heavier. And to me, the characteristics of the arrows that this shoots are more characteristic to an arrow than a bolt, probably somewhere in between, but for just the sake of simplicity, I'll refer to it as an arrow. And I removed one of the field tips, and it weighed at 50.6 grains. And the shaft without the tip, this is a shaft with the fletch, which would be what we would call the filly. And there's obviously no knock on it because it has to be held. A knock would be for clipping it onto a string for you people that are archery guys. So anyway, oh god, I got 172 grains. But the shaft by itself is 121, and I got 50.6 on the tip. So 172 grains. I got 172.2 to be exact on the arrow with the tip. So, and the arrow shaft is 14 7/8. I'm not sure if that includes a tip or not. I don't think it really matters much. But I did see one fellow that had this set up with a quiver mounted on it, and I thought that was kind of neat, and it looked pretty sharp, and it looked very handy. And you're going to probably shoot this either holding it or on a rest, and you're not going to be able to, at least as far as I know, you're not going to be able to do a bipod because those connect. A bipod will connect down here at the bottom. But see, you've got this going on here, So, you know, the bipod would, and this is not really a rail in the sense of, you know, the right, I assume it's not the same dimension. This is more of a rail for this cover to slide back and forth on. So, unless you come up with something custom, I don't think there's going to be a bipod that's going to work out without some kind of alteration if that's what you want to do. But from what I've seen, people seem to be doing really well shooting these off a rest, and that seems to be the way to go at this point. So, but this is a very, very powerful, compact, lightweight airbow, and what I like about it, it's not a lot of money. I mean, I think I had to go, everybody was out of these, and I found one guy that had them, so I probably paid 10 or 20 bucks more for it than I should have, but I think they go for around 170, and if I'm not mistaken, they just went up, and it turns out I really didn't pay that much extra once I saw the price increase, so I'm pretty happy about that. So let me see, we got, yeah, they advertise per second, or 300 feet per second, I'm sorry. And that's on the low side, as I said, in warm weather, your first, I don't know, 2 or 3 shots are going to be considerably over 300 feet per second, so that's good. And let's see, you got, oh, and the pressure that the arrows can stand out. Got to remember, we've got CO2, little trigger, big blast of energy, which is the CO2. And these hollow arrows are rated for 1,200 pounds PSI. So they can withstand 1,200 pounds of blast of pressure in there without damaging the air. So I think what they're saying too, and I read this somewhere, is you don't want to beef this up, because if you were to make power mods on it, the arrows might not be able to take it, and that could get dangerous. You know, you don't want an arrow, you know, blowing up. And in fact, when you read the manual, you'll see there's a section about you know, inspecting your arrows every time before you use them. Look for any damage, because we're talking about a lot of pressure here, and they don't want to, you know, you to have you know, a malfunction, or, you know, an arrow blow apart or whatever. It could be very dangerous. And they do recommend you wear eye protection, you know, when you use it, because of that small risk. So, and let me see, it comes with 3 arrows, and I've already ordered another 6 arrows, which I think cost me about $35, $39 if I remember right, and I'm sorry about that, I didn't write it down. And they've got the weight at 3.9 pounds, and that's okay, that's cool. And but now, it's not loaded right now, but I did add this riser and this sight to it. All right, I don't have the, I did weigh this on the scale, and don't have that number with me. I'll put that down in the description though. But just go over a few basics real quick before we stop here. It's 34 inches long. It's very light, but when you outfit it with a scope, sight, riser, and maybe mount a quiver on there, it's going to have some pretty good weight. The stock, like an AR stock, is adjustable. It's not mil spec. It's just for this airbow only. So, but it is very nice, and it's adjustable. And I do like the fact that a lot of these have a really hard shoulder piece on there, or the buttstock on. And this is kind of rubberized. It's kind of soft. I like that. That's nice. And with the this on the right, I'll try to show you how this comes really nice, and it just and that 1-inch riser, at least with this Birmingham small arms dot sight, works out very good. So very nice. And again, got the safety here, which I really like. It's very beefy, and it's loud. But I like that. I like the fact that that's so prominent and it's so solid, because I think the safety on this is going to be really important. And here comes my neighbor with his tractor. So, and again, You see I have the cocking bolt on the right. All you have to do is unscrew it. There's a hole on the other side. It's as simple as it could possibly be to switch that back and forth, which is really kind of neat. And then, like I said before, there's your push button to open this up. Your 88 gram CO2 will go right in there. Tighten it by hand, and there you go. Good to go.